I want to invite you on a journey with me. It's a journey that took 19 years, but I have millions and millions of sisters around the world who have been going through this journey, who have completed it or are just starting. It's a journey to a hysterectomy. Sometimes our femininity and our value as a woman is attached to having a functioning uterus that can birth children. But what happens when that goes wrong? What happens when that uterus has done its job or didn't do the job and yet has to be taken out? This has plunged so many women into deep depression, and they have lost their sense of identity and value, thinking that their worth is tied to this organ. This journey of 19 years that I have put together and compiled in vlogs is what I'm inviting you on. How did I get here? I am still in post-recovery, but many things I have learned, and the most important one is this: my creativity and my ability to create life did not end with my uterus. I want to be able to share some of those principles that I've learned with you. But first, again, strap up your seatbelt because we're going on a roller coaster ride. This is the journey to my hysterectomy. Hey there. So, how you doing? I know it's been a week. I didn't want to inundate Instagram with a whole lot of posts because I already do a whole lot of posts. And I know I had some birthdays this week, and so I waited until now to just come and talk about a subject along the same lines of the journey. But it took me a little bit to prepare my mind to even talk about this subject because it's a very, for me, it's been a subject that has caused me to experience some of the, what's the word? I'm not a shy person. I call myself an introvert, even though 99% of the world disagrees with me. But I do enjoy my quiet time, and I do sometimes get drained by the crowds. But I think what this has done has prevented me from some social fun and daring fun. And so I will share a story, hopefully that could break the ice on this particular subject. So I remember going back home to St. Lucia, and I went to the beach with my very, very close childhood friend, Ziana. And Ziana has children also. She has 3 children. And, well, actually, no, she only had 2 then. I don't think she had my little niece as yet. But anywho, we were there, and Vicky was there with us, and we ended up going to the beach. Now, Victoria is I think 14 or something like that. And of course, 14-year-old bodies are intact. That's what I would call them. They're intact. So Vicky's there, and she's intact. And Ziana and Ziana is very slim. And I wasn't as skinny as I was when I was 21, but in any event, so Vicky has her bikini on, and I think Ziana had her bikini on too. And of course, I was daring. I had my bikini, but I had always shrunk at those times. When it was time to wear a swimsuit, I always had a problem because I have scars. I have many scars. I'm not talking about the scars from my tomboy days. Yes, your girl is a tomboy and very proud to hold that badge. But, I have scars from bicycles, falling over, doing pop-up wheelies. I actually took my thigh out twice, riding bicycles and, on the gravel and trying to, do the the papa willy with the guys because I was always with the guys. And of course, climbing trees and falling down the trees and scaling walls because we never took the street. We always scaled a wall to go to our neighbor's house. Um, I Hello. You see this over here is because I the video before was so good and then the phone fell. So really upset because it was so good. Maybe I'll just pop it in there just to continue. But anyway, yeah, you know what? Yes, I'll just continue. So this is part two because the thing fell. You know, I was talking about falling and the phone fell. So anyway, as a tomboy, I just, just all over the place. So I have plenty, plenty, plenty of trophies to prove that my tomboy days were fun. So I never had an issue with scars. My mother did. My mother would freak out every time I fell. I remember at one point there was a high school next to our house, and there was no like paved roads, just gravel. And the guys and I liked to cycle. I loved to cycle, and so we do the papa wheelie, and I fell one time and took my whole thigh out, all the skin. So my mother freaks out, and I'm just like, yeah. So she's like, "You're never gonna get a husband. Your legs are not gonna look nice." And I was like, "I ain't thinking about that." So of course my grandmother nursed it back to health, and then, I was told not to go back on the bike, but what did Toya do? So I went back on the bike, and I fell again. I took the other side. No, I took the same side out again, like the whole thigh. But anyway, that's just me. I'm very adventurous. And so scars have never um, intimidated me. They never did. Until, until the scar that many women either in two have two opinions about. They're either very proud or it brings a level of, I can't let anybody see this, right? So the C-section scar is one of those that I have. Now, before the C-section, actually, no, I had the C-section first because I had the C-section with Nigel. And it wasn't your typical C-section that is planned and the scar is right under the bikini line, right underneath the tummy, so it's barely seen, and if you have a bikini on, it's not seen. That is not the scar that I have. I have the scar that goes up and down because it was an emergency C-section. Couldn't avoid it. The boy couldn't be found. He kept spinning around. They didn't know where he was. Had to go up in there. The umbilical cord was like wrapped all around his neck. And so this is the scar that I have. What was worse was the foundation to why I'm having all these issues leading up to this hysterectomy is that, like I said before, the hospital, I got staph and strep in the wound, and it just tore through the layers of my stomach. I was sick for months and months and months. And so I don't just have the scar, but there's also all of that scarring underneath the layers of it. And so it has been a sensitive point for me, especially as a woman, and I am actually fighting back the intimidation and the fear to even talk about this because it's not something that I talk about. But anyway, yeah, so I have that, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's just, I'm sure if I go to the gym and work for a whole year and do like one of those Tom Brady workout things, then I'll probably have a six pack. But this is me. This is me. But then when I had the back surgery and I had that scar, so on my back is another scar that goes this way. So literally, if you look at my which way, how am I going to do this? Yeah, my front and my back. So there's a scar in the back and a scar in the front. And that to me was like a badge of honor, the one in the back, because I made it through this awful, 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 awful back situation. But I think it was the day when my significant other looked me in the face and said to me, when we were breaking up, that no one would ever want you because your body is washed out. And you've had 3 children, and your body's not the same anymore, and nobody's going to want you, nobody's going to look at you. And I think I believe that. I know I believe that. Somehow it just parked itself in the recesses of my mind. And everything I did came out of that, including the shame I felt, or the apprehension I had of bearing my scar, even if it was on the beach. You know what I mean? It just was like, absolutely not. I never looked at it, and that can happen. You know how many women take showers every day and yet we don't look at our bodies? That happens to millions of us. So it just was a point of contention for me, because I knew the scar came from something I could not control, but yet being being made to think that it was the source of rejection, a future rejection, was something that just stuck in there, and I guess my whole mind and my psyche and everything said, that is true. So amongst my girlfriends, yeah, kind of, but we never talked about it. And so here we are now on another phase of when I had the DNCs and the ablation, more scarring. So it seems like the last 19 years have just been 19 years of dealing with scars and scarring. And those scars, which build up, hurt. If you try to cut through them, they hurt. This is what happened with the biopsy. They could not get through the scars, and it hurt. But in order for them to do the surgery, they're going to have to go through the stomach, and they're going to have to go through that scar tissue, and hence why they have to use the robot, and there might be some reconstruction. So with that notion, the last few weeks I have been forced to literally look at myself and actually revisit the story that was told to me, that I believed and I've been telling myself about my stomach and my scarring, because I'm going to have to face it. And I feel that it's an important discussion that we need to have with ourselves and with our bodies, to actually take a look at our bodies and all of the imperfections that come with them. I finally took a look, and a long look, at this scar and spoke to my stomach. And it might sound weird, but I had to reconcile with the scar, and I had to reconcile with the way my stomach looks and the way just my body looked. And that was a very hard and painful conversation. And I had to apologize to myself and literally tell myself, you believed a lie. You believed a strong lie, a lie that was meant to break you down. Your scars are badges. Your scars are a symbol of remembrance of a victory won. Your scar is the reminder for you that something was meant to harm you or kill you, literally take you out, and it did not. That you are still alive and you're still operating in full womanhood. And that scar would become another scar in another few weeks. But I will look at that same scar, as we should, and say, our scars are badges of honor. What should have killed me did not, and here is the memory of it. So every time I see it, I shall celebrate. And so it is with pride and joy that I share with you that part of where I am. It's gonna be hard tomorrow, probably. Am I gonna look at it when I bathe? Maybe not. But I will remind myself that look at it, look at the scar, because it is a badge and a good remembrance of a time that was sorrowful, but I made it out. Talk to you guys later. Bye.